Have you spoken to President Trump about any concerns about conflict of interest with Mr. Witkoff?
Again, you've cited a bunch of things. I'm just not aware of those but I'm just telling you my personal interactions with Mr. Witkoff are of a person who just thinks he's serving the country and is happy to do so, not out of any personal gain, but because he wants to serve the country.
Shockwaves are rocking Washington right now. Just moments ago, Representative Stanton completely exposed a massive $2 billion semiconductor chip deal, leaving Senator Marco Rubio visibly panicking on the floor. This explosive confrontation changes everything regarding national security and tech funding. Let's dive straight into exactly what just went down.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, I do want to talk to you about the blurring of lines between public service and private enrichment at the highest levels of this administration's foreign policy leadership. President Trump has placed Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner in charge of addressing some of the world's most intractable conflicts, including the war between Russia and Ukraine and cleaning up the president's self-made mess of war of choice in Iran. Let me start with Mr. Witkoff, Trump's special envoy to the Middle East. He co-founded the cryptocurrency venture firm World Liberty Financial alongside President Trump and President Trump's children. Days before President Trump's inauguration, a firm controlled by a member of the royal family of the United Arab Emirates, Sheikh Taghnoon, bought a 49% stake in the company. That was a $500 million investment. $31 million of that went straight to the Witkoff family. Witkoff was still a financial stakeholder in World Liberty as he was simultaneously leading high-level U.S. government negotiations in his role as special envoy. One of those negotiations was over the export of America's most advanced AI chips to the UAE, negotiations personally attended by Sheikh Taghnoon. In the spring, another company chaired by Sheikh Taghnoon, MGX, deposited $2 billion in World Liberty Financial's stablecoin, the single largest investment in the crypto company ever. Weeks later, the chip deal was announced despite national security concerns. Secretary Rubio, do you believe that Mr. Witkoff has an unacceptable conflict of interest?
I have never seen any evidence that he's made any decisions or advocated for any position that's to his personal benefit. On the contrary, and again, I can't speak to all the things you're saying now because that's not, Mr. Witkoff is an employee of the White House and he undergoes the ethics vetting and the procedures for disclosure that are appropriate to them, not to the State Department. But I would just add, I want to be fair, okay? I've never seen the guy ever say anything to me that makes me think this is personal rather than, the only thing he's ever done is spend his own money. Yeah. I know he has spent his own money at great personal expense to fly around the world on his own airplane, not on the government bill. He has, done it, but everything out of his own pocket.
Are you concerned about the appearance of a conflict of interest with Mr. Witkoff?
I've never seen anything that leads me to have that concern. Again, you've cited a bunch of things. I'm just not aware of those but I'm just telling you my personal interactions with Mr. Witkoff are of a person who just thinks he's serving the country and is happy to do so, not out of any personal gain, but because he wants to serve the country.
As Secretary of State who's in charge of the foreign affairs of the United States, have you spoken to President Trump about any concerns about conflict of interest with Mr. Witkoff?
I haven't had to. I've not seen any.
Let's talk about Jared Kushner. His private equity firm, Affinity Partners, has raised more than $6 billion since it was founded in 2021, including $1.2 billion just over the last year. Mr. Secretary, are you aware of how much of that $6 billion has been raised from foreign nationals?
I don't know anything about it.
The answer is 99%. These include sovereign wealth funds operated by Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar. The Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund is the largest investor in Affinity Partners. In fact, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman personally recommended that Saudi Arabia invest in Affinity Partners. The Crown Prince has also personally urged President Trump in multiple phone calls to continue the ongoing war of choice in Iran. Let's put it another way. The man who bankrolled Kushner's business venture is the same man who is lobbying for the war Kushner is tasked with ending. Mr. Secretary, same question. Are you concerned about any conflict of interest by Jared Kushner, the president's son-in-law?
Again, in Jared's case, Jared is a private citizen who's been advising and participating in this voluntarily. He's not compensated for it or in any way. But I've never seen from either Steve or Jared on the contrary, all I've ever seen them do is put tremendous amount of time and energy into trying to solve problems, like the amount of time they put into Gaza and the Board of Peace and all of that process. I think,
Secretary, let me
I believe
reclaim my
they've done
time.
it out of the kindness and goodness of their heart. They think they're serving the country.
The goodness of their heart. Mr. Secretary, what Jared Kushner said on 60 Minutes on this very issue, when asked about it, he says, what people call conflict of interest, Steve and I call experience and trusted relationships that they have throughout the world. Reclaiming my time, let's recap. The two men tasked with resolving this country's most sensitive national security issues, including meeting with Iranian negotiators, are profiting off the same countries that they are engaging with. One thing we know for sure, while the Ukraine peace talks are going nowhere and the war of Iran has no end in sight, Witkoff and Kushner are making out like bandits. Meanwhile, a gallon of gas is still hovering about $4.67 in Phoenix, Arizona, that I represent, up nearly 40% from just 18 months ago. The American people are paying more for gas, for groceries, for everything. They're footing the bill while representatives of our government are cashing in. I yield back.
Thank you, Secretary Rubio. Representative Kamlager-Dove.
So, Mr. Secretary, 5 months ago, you essentially became the new overlord of Venezuela, taking control of the country's oil revenues and giving foreign companies access to its oil and minerals. But you have provided no real transparency about where the money is going and who is benefiting from this arrangement. I want to now talk a little bit about Mauricio Claver-Carrón. So, Mr. Secretary, you've known Mr. Claver-Carrón for many years, correct?
I don't know how many years, but sure.
Okay. We know that he was special envoy to Latin America. He's also a former lobbyist who supported your presidential campaign, I think in 2016. And now he runs a private equity firm that is seeking $1 billion in investments in Latin America. Apparently, he is seen as your right-hand man on Venezuela, but he's not a federal employee, and he's not bound by rules about financial disclosures or conflict of interest. According to the Washington Post, he acts like a kingmaker in Venezuela, helping to determine which private companies get contracts and access. And that's concerning because in January, you gave confidential licenses for Venezuelan oil to a company that had been charged with bribery by the Department of Justice and employs a trader who gave $6 million to Trump's campaign. Some have said that Mauricio is the Jared Kushner of Latin America, but Mauricio has said that Jared Kushner is the Mauricio of the Middle East. So who is Mauricio, and why is he riding on private jets to Caracas with executives from firms trying to get contracts? And why is he texting Delcy Rodriguez on the regular? Who is he working for?
Okay.
I'm going to allow you to respond. I'm setting this up because it looks unseemly that essentially you are taking Venezuelan oil money and sending it through a network of campaign donors, corrupt politicians, and lobbyists, and we can't get any documentation on that. We don't have any receipts. So the question is anyone from the administration, directly or indirectly, benefiting from the contracts being doled out in Venezuela?
Is this where I get to answer?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Number one is, the number of people, Mauricio is one of many people that are involved in what's happening in Venezuela. There's not a day that goes by that we don't have someone who's interested in what's happening in Venezuela for a variety of reasons. Nor is he the only person in the United States that directly contacts Delcy Rodriguez and others. There is a stampede of people that want to be involved in Venezuela. Mauricio is one of many, but by the way, not involved in Venezuela. I am not knowledgeable or know of any financial links he has to anybody in Venezuela.
So I'm going to reclaim my time, Mr. Secretary, but I'm glad that you said that. Because you have said these things, you have shared these talking points before.
They're not talking points, they're the truth.
But it is hard to take your word for it when this is the most corrupt administration in American history.
Well, that's
we're
your
talking
opinion.
pardons for sale. We're talking about no-bid contracts to those on Trump's family and friends plan. We're talking about a $1.8 billion slush fund. And I think that's corruption. The American people think that's corruption. They want to know if you think that's corruption.
Okay. Number two, this goes right to the point of transparency. You're absolutely wrong about the way the money flows. It's pretty straightforward, and I'll share.
So I'm going to have to reclaim
So
my
when-
time again because
well, then,
the,
so
the
what
question
kind of process
about
is this? They get to
corruption-
ask
the
questions and you don't get to
question about-
answer?
It's my time. The question
I don't know
about
about you. When
corruption
is it
is
my
really
time?
important.
So why am I
because
here if I don't
you
get to answer
can't
your
call
questions
out
or your defamatory
I'm
statements?
reclaiming my time,
Reclaim.
Mr.
I want
Chair.
you to, but I want to reclaim. Well, do I get time?
This
Because you
is
make
my
these
time,
defamatory
Mr. Chair.
statements and no one can talk here.
If
This
you
is crazy.
can't call out corruption in this country, then how can you call it out in another
Well, I can't say
country?
anything 'cause you
That
won't
is
let me
the
speak.
question. It is about credibility and your credibility. And your credibility meter is on empty right now. This
See,
oil.
these guys
who
just get to talk and I don't get to
Who
answer?
determines the barrels of oil that get
Why-
sold? How
but you
many
won't
of
let
them?
me
At
answer your
what
question.
price
I have
does
an
it
answer
get
for your
sold?
question.
Where is it going?
Oh, I get
will
it. They
let
have to
you.
use their time for me to answer
The
your
onus
question.
is on you to
joke.
prove that there is no corruption happening.
Well, how do I
That is
prove it if
your
you don't let me talk?
responsibility as the Secretary of State. And you know what? Normally we would have access to that data. That's the
You do.
transparency.
You just don't know where to
But you're
look.
not showing us any receipt. Well, then show us.
But
Do you
you won't.
commit? Do you commit to coming back here with whoever the person is who is monitoring the sales of the oil? Bring them before this committee.
Can I
Show the
reclaim my
receipts.
time?
Have the documentation. You don't have this time yet. I am talking about your credibility and evidence, not your talking points, because talking points are never a replacement for transparency
I agree,
and
but that's what you're
documentation.
saying. You're saying talking
And
points
we
without
have
an
not-
answer.
We are 5 months into this and no audits. Zero visibility into the
100%
contracts that are
false.
awarded.
100%
Zero
false.
Unfortunately,
transparency about where the
Representative's
money
time has
is
expired.
going.
Representative Salazar is recognized.
Yes.
And giving contracts with no transparency
Can I
is
borrow your
exactly
time
the
to
reason why
answer?
you shut down USAID. So practice what you preach. I yield my
Oh,
pass.
she gets to scream now too? Scream
Chairman,
and
can we
shout.
take down her words? I'll give you some time. I'll give
Yeah.
you some of my time. Then you just
Okay.
just
But God,
change
what
the
kind of thing
energy.
is this? What is this? You get asked questions for 5 minutes and you don't get time to answer. It's not a hearing.
I think you said clown
Like
show
a dunk
before.
tank.
I
What
don't,
is
I don't
this?
have to tell you.
The tension in the hearing room was palpable as Representative Stanton took the microphone. What was supposed to be a routine oversight meeting quickly turned into a political firestorm. Stanton caught everyone off guard by pulling out receipts on a massive, low-profile $2 billion semiconductor chip deal one that apparently had Senator Marco Rubio's fingerprints all over it. Rubio, usually known for his calm and collected demeanor on foreign policy and tech committees, looked completely caught off guard as Stanton laid out the timeline, the funding sources, and the lack of transparency behind this multi-billion-dollar arrangement. Rubio's expression shifted from confidence to sheer panic. The core of the controversy boils down to three major issues. First, there is a total lack of transparency, as the deal was fast-tracked behind closed doors without standard bipartisan scrutiny. Second, allegations are surfacing that certain overseas supply chain links directly contradict Rubio's usual tough tech stance. And finally, billions of dollars of taxpayer money were routed in a way that bypasses traditional oversight, raising immediate red flags. Stanton didn't hold back, demanding immediate answers and public disclosure of all communications regarding the deal. He openly questioned whether the funding truly serves American national security or if it merely benefits a select group of tech lobbyists. Rubio's legal and PR teams are already scrambling to control the fallout, but the damage is done. The video of the exchange is already going viral, and calls for a formal investigation are mounting by the minute. This isn't just a political squabble. It's a massive development for the future of tech manufacturing and national security. If Stanton's allegations hold weight, we could be looking at congressional hearings, restructured tech bills, and a massive blow to Rubio's political standing. What do you think? Was this $2 billion deal a massive oversight failure? Or is there more to the story? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that like button and subscribe for more breaking updates as this story develops.